suck. Down, Fields. Run for Fields. Oh, turn it on to speed.
Wake up. This is Out High Bear Nation.
Wake up. This is Out of High Bear Nation. Welcome back, guys, to a very special episode of Out of High Bear Nation right here on the Undefeated Sports Network. Hope everybody's having a fantastic Thursday. Appreciate you joining us, even with the debauchery of a game between the Raiders and the Chargers that's going on right now. 21-0 the last time I took a look at that, but we are here on Out of Hibernation live to talk all things Chicago Bears this evening. And there's a chance that the Bears could be making the playoffs. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but we got Angelo Ace Camacho and Joey Law Lopez with us tonight. How we doing, fellas?
Doing pretty well. But you guys,
Joey, welcome back. It's been
Good to see you guys again.
hot minute since you've been back.
it has.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right, Tarbill. How are you, man?
Hanging in there, man.
This is
Always
the first
happy to...
Out of Hibernation we've done since in a while together, you and me. Since I think when, the Bears. Nope, me and Turtle did the Bears and the Panthers, so it was before that game.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've got to talk, Ace. So
Yep.
looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts, both of you, on the current state of the Chicago Bears. And I'm still rocking some blue and orange tonight, but it's the wrong logo, so go
That's all
Illini.
right. That's all right. Now there is a possibility that my connection cuts out and I drop from this amazing show, but I'll get back as soon as I can if that happens.
We'll roll with the punches as they come at us, man. It's no issue, Ace. We got to do what we got to do. So anything comes up, we'll deal with it as it comes up. But glad you guys are here. Glad all of you have tuned in to listen to us talk Bears. And I want to jump right into it, boys. The first topic that we have for you guys tonight is a good one. As crazy as it seems to even be talking about this, the Bears are barely hanging on. Can the Bears get into the playoffs? So, seeing a lot of scenarios floating around online. Obviously, the most clear path to victory is our Chicago Bears win out, and then there's like an 86% chance that they could get in, assuming they have a better record than the Packers, and they get that tiebreaker against them week 17. It's a long shot, right, at this point, boys. I think we have to get past Cleveland before we even talk about the playoffs. What are your guys' thoughts here? Realistically, do you think this team is trending towards greatness, I guess? Do you think this team is trending towards something that can be a playoff?
Let's settle down, Carmelo. You've been gone for a while, buddy, but I know a lot's happened with the Bears since you were last here. But, I mean, a 2-game winning streak does not make you a premier Super Bowl contender. You know what I mean? The Bears, for the whole first half of the season, we were ripping this team for constant problems, right? Terrible coaching. They fired 2 members of the coaching staff. Justin Fields looked terrible.
They've
looked better.
Resigned.
They resigned. Right? They didn't get fired.
They resigned.
Did you say Justin Fields looked terrible?
Well, he didn't look good. Right?
I don't think
he didn't look good.
There was really a point in this season where I said he looked terrible.
Okay, maybe terrible was a little strong, but there was a point in this season where people doubted the Bears going forward with him, and they're
Yeah,
still
they
down.
went crying to
got
Caleb.
bored.
They went crying, oh, look at Caleb. It's the same. It's like if you pay attention to the same thing that happened last year. Like if you notice,
Right.
the Bears started off, slow, horrible, terrible, whatever. Then all of a sudden, throughout the half of the season, they started picking up. They were winning ball games, and all of a sudden, Fields he's it. He's the future. He's this. Which is he a future? We still don't know. Like we still again, it's the coaches. They tried changing his game again. They're trying to make him a pocket passer. Is he a pocket passer? Yes, but at the same time, do I blame all the coaches? Not all of it, but the majority of it. It's like they want him to play their game, and he's not
Absolutely.
there yet. He's like it's like Patrick Mahomes said, and it was spot on. He said, "Let the boy play his game. You drafted him for a reason. You build around him. Why are you changing his game? He's like we obviously drafted him for a reason, and the fact that you're changing and trying to coach him to play a whole different setting, it's not going to work. Like it's going to take time. And then yeah, is he playing better? 100%. But at the same time, he's not there yet, and that's because I believe they're not coaching him the right way. They're not building around his fundamentals. They're just trying to quick fix things and change things around. It's not working like that. So right away, what's to happen? They want to exit. They want to Caleb Williams, this and that, and it's not it. And people don't understand. You bring in another kid to be the exact same thing. You got to restart, redo it.
Right.
So it's like again, like Justin Fields is is he the promised land? I'm not saying he is, but I'm also not saying he isn't. I'm saying let the kid continue to play his ball and coach him, give him the confidence that he needs. He had, in my opinion, he's had 3 good games. Four. Denver, Washington, Detroit, and then that was the last one he had pretty
Detroit.
Well.
I think both the Detroit games were good games for Fields.
Oh, there you go. Yes, both Detroit. Yes.
I think the Vikings game
I don't
was
think
Go ahead, Tarbill.
I don't think the Vikings game was really a bad body of work. It was just we didn't score a touchdown because the game plan was 30+ screen passes.
Right.
Yeah. And I understand some people chalk that up to your coaching staff doesn't trust your quarterback. That's why they're throwing 30+ screen passes a game. However, I think Luke Getsy is just as delusional as possible. And I swear his buddies the night before took him out and were like, we bet you won't call 30 screen passes tomorrow. And he's like, oh, yeah? Hold my beer and watch this shit. I'll call 35.
If
I still am under the impression that Luke Getsy – I'm still under the impression that Luke Getsy is a double agent for the Green Bay Packers. That he came to the Bears just to keep pushing them back further and further, and then at the end of this year, we'll get we'll be punked by him, and the Packers will end up making it to the playoffs. But
wasn't Gatsby coaching defense with Packers?
No, he was the quarterback's coach.
Okay, quarterback coach. Now he's calling the plays like
the quarterback. So,
but he was the quarterback's coach to Aaron Rodgers. So
yeah, but again,
was
Rodgers
he good?
Doesn't really need a coach. Like Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers for a reason. The dude's a Hall of Famer. As much as it pains me to say that, he's on the Jets now. I'm okay with hyping him up a little bit, but I don't know. The topic is the playoffs, right? So the good thing is usually this time of year, we're like, oh man, they need to lose out so that they can get a better draft pick. Well, they have Carolina's draft pick at number 1. So you don't really need to lose out because you have that first spot solidified. Basically, after this week, it'll almost be 100% guaranteed they get that spot. I think now it's about learning to win. They talked about it last year, and young teams need to be able to finish games. You watched it in the Denver game. You watched it in the first Detroit game, where nobody likes a soft D. Pause. Now, nobody likes a soft D, and when you're playing soft coverage, you're playing. They always say that you're playing to not lose the game, but you end up losing the game, right? So for the Bears, I think that was really poor coaching in those 2 losses, the Denver and the first Detroit game. You watched it change, right? They played against the Vikings. They didn't do the prevent thing. Then in Detroit, they didn't get into the prevent defense. They went after Jared Goff. They sacked him on that last drive, and it was a completely different philosophy. And if they can play that way, right, it all comes down to Sunday's game. If they win Sunday, then anything is on the table. They lose Sunday, it's over, right? Then we talk
absolutely.
about, then we get into the whole Justin Fields, is he staying, is he going thing. But
Right.
I think Sunday is a big test because I think it's one of the top defenses that they will play against this year. And if they're able to come away with a victory, I don't think it's going to be a pretty win. If they win, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be very similar to the Minnesota game. But I think that they have the better quarterback for sure.
You know, here's the thing, though. You know, we always preach any given Sunday and anything can happen. You look at this defense of the Cleveland Browns, and as of late, they've been riddled with injuries. They've got 2 starting defensive backs out right now, injured. There's opportunity. The main thing is going to be shutting down Myles Garrett, right? Can you stop Myles Garrett from sacking your quarterback? He wasn't the one that sacked Fields 11 times when they played, but Fields' first game as a starter, he was sacked by Cleveland 11 times. So
Literally
obviously your
I've
offensive
ever
line
watched.
is much more improved than it was 2.5 years ago when you played Cleveland. But Myles Garrett is a force to be reckoned with. That guy is a freak athlete. And if he's lining up over Nate Davis, I'm not sure that Justin's going to have a lot of time back there in the pocket. But that goes back to really alludes to what Joe was saying earlier in the show about Justin Fields having the ability to play his game, right? So you see, not to get into analytics and Justin Fields not getting the roughing calls that he should be getting, but you see Justin Fields running a little bit more the last couple weeks, playing a little more loosely. The designed runs don't work really with Fields. He's more of a guy, roll out. If it's not there, he just runs forward, takes off, and then he's
a scrapper,
best athlete on the field. Exactly. However, you've got to let Fields play his game in order for this team to be successful, and especially against a defense like Cleveland, if we don't see 70 to 100 rushing yards out of Fields, I think it's probably a loss because this defense is going to come after Justin is ultimately what I'm saying.
And what's the best team that did help that? In my opinion, if I was Eberflus or whatever, however you pronounce his name, we have a tight end who can block. What's his name?
Mercedes Lewis.
There you go,
Mercedes Lewis. Yeah.
In this particular game, I would be using an extra tight end to a fullback at all costs. I mean, you need that extra blocking.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're only, if you really watch the game, we're only using 3 players every game. It's either we're using DJ, we're using Cole Kmet, or it's the running back. Got his name, number 21.
Herbert, Foreman, whoever's
not
there.
Even Herbert. It's been Foreman pretty much. And that's, in my opinion, I think that's the guy to go with because he's got the explosion. Like, other than that, I mean, they're not using anyone else.
Well, and you got to feed the hot hand when it comes to the running back room.
100%.
And you've got that running back by committee style system. And I think Foreman's proved that he's the hot hand right now. That's no shade to Herbert. It's just he's a hard downhill runner. He hits the hole hard and can break through contact well. I really like what I've seen out of Foreman this year. And I liked him last season when he was on the Panthers. After the Christian McCaffrey trade, he tore it up for me in fantasy yards. So I already knew what kind of animal he was coming into the Bears. And he's done well this season. Obviously, injuries have slowed him down a little bit. He's missed a couple games. That whole running back room, I mean, Herbert out a few games. He was out a couple games. Roshan Johnson was out a few games with a concussion. So we haven't really seen 100% healthy running back room really all year here in Chicago. But, you know, when that goes back to the elusiveness that you have at quarterback in Justin Fields. Justin Fields has the most ball carrying yards on the Chicago Bears as of, well, he did entering last week. And I'm sure he probably still does because he added another 60 or so yards last week. Justin Fields is elusive with his legs, man, and you have to let him cook. This coaching staff is literally, Joey, I say it all the time, we're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and it's just like, why are you trying to force something that doesn't work? Go with the athletic abilities that this guy has. You know he can throw the football. Like, all the skeptics that still say that Justin Fields can't throw the football, look at some of the dimes that he's dropped to DJ Moore this year. And look at how many yards DJ Moore has receiving.
Well, they also changed a lot of the people who were talking bad about him. They changed what they said about him. A lot of people are on board with him. I mean, look at they're saying him and DJ Moore, they're in the top 5. I mean,
They're number 2 in quarterback wide receiver duos.
See, there you go.
Only behind Tua and Tyreek Hill. So
yeah. So that and you think about that, it's crazy. I mean, in my opinion, I think the biggest fault the Bears organization had was they brought in, besides the head coach, they brought in a bunch of coaches that don't have head coaching experience. They don't they're all coordinators or I'm sorry, position coaches. And then you have the 2 coaches that retire, that resign and all that stuff. So it's like it becomes a big headache. There's so much noise. And it's always been like that for the Chicago Bears. But at the end of the day, it's like the Chicago Bears is known for one thing: pound the football. They run the game, play hard, play physical. And lately they haven't been doing it. Now they found their voice. They found their stand, and now they're playing great football. I mean, the defense is phenomenal. I mean, they're on second in their pass rush. I mean, run stop right now in the league.
Yes,
I think they're first, aren't they? First.
I think I read second today.
Oh, they might be second.
I believe they're second. Yeah, as of today, they were second. But
that's
either way,
Sweats.
Yes, and we'll get into the Montez Sweat trade here in a little bit. But one thing before we move to our next topic, we don't have a graphic for this, but Joey, would you like the Bears to stay with Justin Fields next season? Do you think he has done enough to deserve one more year, or it's contingent on these next 4 games?
No, I'm riding all the way with Justin Fields. I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's a perfect fit for the Chicago Bears. We need to continue to build around him.
I totally agree. I think Ace is of the same opinion.
Yeah, I feel like he's, in terms of leadership on this team, if you lose Justin Fields, I feel like you're taking a big step back. I think
absolutely.
I think Flus is, I don't know, he's shown to improve the defense. Obviously, they weren't that great to start the season. Right. He took over. They've played a lot better. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they went a different direction at quarterback and coach, but that's just because, it'd be different if it was last year that this was happening. I don't think they do. But because they have that number 1 pick, because Justin's going to need to get paid here pretty soon, because
but Caleb Williams is. Sorry,
I don't like Caleb Williams.
Cut you off here, Ace, but Caleb Williams is a crybaby, and every time he plays a top 25 defense, he plays like shit. Notre Dame shut him down this year. Yep. He got embarrassed by them, and Notre Dame, they're a solid program with a decent defense, but it's not like they're world beaters out there.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, and think about leadership qualities between Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, right? When Caleb Williams loses, it's a very me type of attitude that he has, right? He's got to be on camera, making sure that everybody sees how upset he is and all this stuff.
Crying on the sidelines. And
and then Justin's
I don't like it.
And he's right. It's not a guy that I think is a good fit for this team. I think you take a massive step backwards if you move on from Justin.
And neither is Drake May to further that point. I mean, Drake May is not a fit for what we have been doing the last 3 years offensively, and it's too soon for another North Carolina quarterback for me, guys. I feel like we're just going to get Mitch Trubisky 2.0'd if we go after Drake May, and I can't.
Well, man, Mitch helped the Bears last week.
Yeah, by throwing 3 interceptions for a terrible Pittsburgh.
Here's my thing. I don't believe that we're going to go after the quarterback, only because if we were, then that means Poles has given up on the coaching staff. I think Poles is going to be back for another year. The head coach is going to be there. They're going to stick with Justin. They're going to go after him, and they're going to continue to keep building. I mean, we're not rebuilding anymore. We were rebuilding last year, the year before
Right.
that. We're not rebuilding. Like we are a few pieces from completing the puzzle. A few pieces. I mean, if in
Right.
the last 2 years, if you really look at it, besides Kansas City, that's the only game we had a blowout. But every game we played, it's always been a close game we lost. Every game.
Even last year when they went on that really bad losing streak, it wasn't like they were getting blown out by 20 plus points every week.
Yeah.
Yo,
I mean,
guys,
we
I'm
lost
tired of
to-
these losing streaks, though.
So here's
Like-
my thing. I think if you reset with another quarterback, they have to get used to the system. Obviously, rookies don't just come out and prosper in the NFL. I don't care that they call Caleb Williams a generational talent. This is where I'm at. If he declares for the draft, you trade back one spot, which is probably going to be to New England. You draft Marvin Harrison Jr. You get another offensive lineman, either a center or somebody that's flexible and can play either guard or tackle. One of those names that I really like is Joe Alt from Notre Dame. So you go out in the first round, you get a generational talent. I hate using that word, but you get a generational talent at wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Jr. You get another offensive lineman to help protect Justin Fields. You piece out the rest of your picks however you want to, and then you go into this season, and if Justin Fields is bad, you're going to have another top 10 pick, and then you trade the farm and move up and draft Arch Manning in 2025. That's where I'm at. Like, ultimately,
That's a solid plan. I like it.
and it doesn't have to be Arch Manning, but obviously he's going to be a big name in the 25 draft class.
I mean, that's the thing to it. If you look, like I still am a firm believer of Jenkins. I understand he's had a lot of injuries, and this is me coming from a person that played offensive line. I could play any position on the offensive line. I mean, Vince will tell you, but it's just like Jenkins, when he's healthy, he's top 3 offensive lineman in the league. Right now, the only piece we're missing is a right guard and a center. Other than that, I mean,
I was going to say a center is almost a must-have, and the reason I didn't say flat out that you draft a center is there's a really good center over in Miami that's going to be a free agent, and I think the Bears should probably pull out all stops to try to sign him to a deal. And even if you have to overpay a little bit, I'm not saying just throw the wallet at him, but if it comes down to paying $600,000-700K more per year than the offer the other guys made to bring him in, do it.
Yeah.
You still have top 3 cap space in football going into next season. So, and for the people that say Justin Fields hasn't earned a contract, you can let him play it out on his 5th year option. You don't have to extend him yet. You don't have to sign him to a big contract. If he balls out next year, then the following year you talk about contracts. But
100%.
And even then, really, if you wanted to and you wanted to be strategic as an organization, you have the franchise tag the following year. So it's not like the Bears don't have options, and they still have top 3 most money in football to spend. So
exactly.
Why are we so afraid of giving Justin Fields another season? This team is honestly reminding me of exactly where the Detroit Lions were at this point in the season last year.
And look at it. And speaking of the Lions, but look at the Lions. Look at how they're sticking with Goff. They're not giving up. I mean, look at all the picks he's thrown. They didn't pull him. They didn't bench him. They're sticking with his quarterback. Like that, they know what he can bring to the table.
I mean, I don't think they have a much better option.
That's true too. But
I mean, you're just plus you paid him, so you're kind of just stuck with him at this point.
My thing is, if you go back to to Fields' stats, what's the worst he has? The fumbles. That's it.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say he's on point with everything else because he still needs to work on his mechanics, but he's not far off. Give him another.
Justin Fields' fumbling is a major problem. It's not 100%. Just a little problem. Like this dude has a knack for just putting the ball on the turf, and it is terrible because it's always at the worst times.
Well, I will counter you that, Ace, by saying the last time the last game he fumbled in against Minnesota, there was definitely a roughing the passer call that should have occurred on one of those two fumbles, guaranteed. But that goes back to the fact that you guys realize that Justin Fields has only had 3 penalties. He's only drawn 3 penalties as a quarterback this season. And throughout his career as an active quarterbacks that have had 2 seasons worth of starts, he is dead last in penalties drawn.
Yeah, they asked him that question in his press conference this week, and he was like, "Well, I told the officials, to hey, watch it for me because I'm not going to pretend to slide. I'm going to go down quick."
Right.
And the very first play of the game, the dude gets hit when he's on the ground and no flag. It's wild to me.
If they were doing that to Aaron Rodgers, they were doing that to
Oh
Tom
my
Brady when he still played. The flag would have been thrown instantaneously every
There'd have
time.
been 12 flags.
And I think a lot of that goes to, well, he's a running quarterback. Vic struggled to get flags a lot when he was with Atlanta at the start of his career on those hits. But at the end of the day, I get from one aspect they're a ball carrier, but that's still a quarterback, and they need to be treated as such, irregardless of whether they have freak athletic ability like Justin Fields does.
Right, but even if a ball carrier was on the ground and somebody dove at them, they would get the flag because it's roughing. You can't hit a
Right.
dude when he's on the ground. And for some reason, Justin just doesn't get the calls.
You can hit him when he's on the ground. But let's move on to our next topic here, boys. We've almost spent 30 minutes dwelling on the 4% chance that the Bears have to make the playoffs. So moving on to our next topic, guys. Big news in Chicago earlier in the week. Yannick Ngakoue moved to the IR. The Bears definitely lose some defensive power. 4 sacks, 50 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 7 QB hits over his stint here with the Chicago Bears this year. I really liked what Yannick Ngakoue brought to the Bears. Coach Eberflus alluded to it a little bit in the press conference earlier in the week that although he only had 4 sacks for the Bears, there were, I would say comfortably, probably 6 or 7 other plays that should have been a sack and he just over pursued or had a bad angle on the quarterback, but he was getting pressure consistently. And obviously, with the addition of Montez Sweat, that's only helped the entirety of the defense. But Yannick last week you saw was kind of coming to life. And then the man practiced for 2 days with a broken ankle before they were like, you should probably get that checked out. It's a little swollen. And he's like, yeah, it's been in pain for 2 days. They go give him the scan and they, yep, you broke your ankle. Bro, what kind of animal are you that you practice with a broken ankle, finish a game, and then go to 2 practices and walkthroughs with a broken ankle before the coach is like, that doesn't look right. You should probably go get that checked out. I like what Yannick Ngakoue brought to this team. I'm glad that Coach Eberflus was able to bring him over from the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, they had a strong relationship while he was there. Speaking of the Indianapolis Colts, nobody has signed Shaq Leonard yet.
Really?
I thought Leonard went to no. I think Leonard signed with the Eagles.
He did. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
he's with the
news
Eagles.
to me. I'm wrong. I'll
Yeah,
admit it. I'll
he's
take
with
that
the
one
Eagles.
back. All right. I was gonna my next point's mute. Then I was gonna say the Bears should go out and sign him, but
Well, speaking of some news, I don't know if it's false, fake news, all that. But I read something for the last couple of days about the Bears have a contract for JJ. They're saying 5 years, a little under 100 mil.
I did see that report, and as much as I would like for them to get it done sooner than later, I think former Bears scouting director Greg Gabriel actually posted on Twitter that basically it was bullshit and the guy's trying to get his 5 minutes of fame. Unfortunately. Now, do I think Jalen Johnson deserves that type of contract? Absolutely. I think Poles made a really strategic and smart move by ending the negotiations when he did, because he lit a fire under Jalen Johnson to prove that, yes, I can play at this elite level. And Sure, it's going to cost the Bears a little bit of money, but I'm fine with that long term if that means he plays at that elite level for the next 4 or 5 seasons for the Chicago Bears. So I'm okay if they want to go out and give him 18 and a half a year and make him, the even highest paid at the position at this point. I'm okay because you look at guys like Patrick Peterson when he was in his prime, or Richard Sherman when he was in his prime, and when I see Jalen Johnson, he is that dude. He's turning into a ball hawk. He's constantly putting pressure. He's able to tackle at a high level. And
he's representing Peanut Tillman's number really well.
Absolutely. The only thing he needs to do is hone in the punch a little bit more.
Yes.
But no, ultimately, Jalen Johnson, phenomenal player. I think in my opinion, I think Eddie Jackson's probably gone after this year, as much as I love Eddie. So if you're not going to pay Eddie, take that money and move it over positionally on the field there and pay JJ whatever he wants. You've got
hold on.
Let me finish.
All right.
You've got Jaquan Brisker, you've got Kyler Gordon, who are both playing really high level football. Jalen Johnson, I think, deserves a big contract. Those guys are still young. Tyreek Stevenson's shown that he can do some good things for this team. I think it's a no-brainer while you have the money and the space available to lock JJ up, or you are going to regret it because you're not going to get that level of talent out of the draft this year. I just don't think you are. Go ahead, Ace. Tell me why I'm wrong.
No. I don't think you're wrong in terms of signing him. I just think to make him the highest paid is a little much for me. He's been a lot better this season.
Contract would make him the highest paid.
Right. I don't necessarily think he's worth that. I don't think he was playing the best football until Sweat got here. And then, of course, because the pass rush got better, all of a sudden, quarterbacks are making bad plays, and you're going to get these opportunities. Let's not forget that he had 2 tailor-made pick sixes in his hand, and he dropped them both. Elite guys make those plays. They just do.
Very true.
Okay, but tell me this. If he's not top 3 money, who is better than Jalen Johnson at that position this year? Can you give me one name, Ace?
All right. Now I got to go through the cornerbacks in the league.
All right.
Thanks, Tarbill.
You can't immediately name someone because he's that good. And I'm not saying he's top of the league good.
I mean, Darius Slay's pretty good.
Okay. Darius Slay's a fair argument. I would say these last 6 weeks or so, Jalen Johnson's been playing better than him.
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about Sauce in New York. He's better than Jalen.
Sauce Gardner.
Patrick Surtain is better. Jair Alexander, I think, is maybe not. He's played like crap this year, so.
Okay, so there's that solidifies it. He's top 5. Give him top 5 money.
Top 5.
Yeah, I'm good with top 5. I just don't think he's elite.
Top 3.
I don't think he's reset the market worthy. You know what I mean?
If I'm going to be fair, I think the one person that's honestly complimenting all of them is Brisker. Brisker is phenomenal. He's the one that when it comes time to it, I would pay him. The one player I compare him a lot to is Mike Brown. He's just taller, stronger. That's all. Mike Brown was very physical, but he was small. Brisker, he's old school. If you watch the way he tackles and the ball hawking, he's that dude. He is that dude.
He had 17 tackles last week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy for a DB.
Yes.
Yeah. They asked Eberflus about that in the post game, and he said in his coaching career, and he's been a defensive guy his whole career, he doesn't recall a DB ever getting 17 tackles in one game, except him himself when he played college ball. And they thought that was cap. In, I think it was 1998, Eberflus played against NIU, good old DeKalb, Northern Illinois University, and had 18 tackles as a DB.
Hey, all right.
Yeah,
fun little stat for you guys.
He's that dude. He's making everyone about. I mean, the linebackers are
He
playing
just has a
better.
knack for being around the ball, right?
No,
He's
absolutely.
always around the play. He's good at bringing guys down, which is super important. And the defense has not been good at that over the last few years. He
No,
wraps dudes up, brings them to the ground. That's what I'd rather have. I know a lot of guys like to try for the, the fumble and this and that, but I would much rather you wrap a dude up, bring him to the ground, and end the play there.
that's the only problem with the Bears over the last few years is 3 guys would try to punch the ball out. None of them would be successful, and then the opposing team would run into the end zone. So
right.
people were hating on the hits principle when Eberflus first came here, but I think he's got something to it, and it's all starting to gel. He's been saying week over week that we're close, we're getting there, we're seeing the progress, and now you win back-to-back games for the first time in your coaching tenure against division rivals at that. This team,
when you couldn't beat the division at all.
But
right?
Like we said earlier, let's see how they play against Cleveland. Let's see how they play against the Packers. Those are the big 2. But after that conversation, we win. Then we can sit there.
Let's revisit that Packer game at the end of the show.
Yeah,
I want to say some stuff about that.
We can do that. Going into our next topic here, fellas. It's just too sweat. Defense back in Chicago. You look at the metrics that Montez Sweat has caused incremental improvement in pass rush, run defense, pressures, pretty much every stat you can look up. The impact of Montez Sweat has been significant for the Chicago Bears defense. It's opened up the door for more pressures, more stunts, blitzes. Eberflus is doing the things that he wants to do with the pressure that Montez Sweat applies. And he's one of those guys that he's getting double, triple teamed, and it just makes opportunities for other guys, right? So Montez Sweat out here really doing some good things for the Chicago Bears. I think it was a brilliant trade. A lot of people are on the fence still and say that you should have gotten Chase Young, whatever. I think.
But have we heard Chase's name lately? We haven't.
You haven't.
Have
you heard Tez's name lately? Yes, you have. So I think Ryan Poles absolutely made the right move. Went out and paid Montez Sweat. That was the thing. For the trade to be successful, you had to lock him down to a long-term deal like they did. I think there was probably already preliminary talks that, the Bears said, hey, if you come here, this is the range we're willing to pay you. We want to get a deal done. More than likely, with the speed of how the deal got done, I think that was definitely, there was something on the table before he came out here, which is good. It's a genius move by Ryan Poles to go out, get a guy like Montez Sweat, lock him up to a long-term deal, address an immediate position of need as well as the long-term. And guys like Montez Sweat just don't become available all that often. Like, to me, it was crazy that he was even a name that Washington was willing to part ways with, because high-level talent like that, especially on the edge, just doesn't become available for other teams to get.
And at a young age.
Yeah, these guys get locked up until they're 30, 32, and they're on the decline, and then you get the Robert Quinns that come to Chicago and have one really good season, and then we go, oh, he's 32 years old. And
or don't forget it, what was the big one? Jared Allen.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great
I forgot he played on on the Bears. That's wild.
Yeah, you forgot because he was well past his prime.
Oh, without a doubt.
Just like when the Bears signed Julius Peppers, man, everyone was like,
2 years out of him.
Oh, I'm so excited for Julius Peppers. I'm like, I would have been more excited 6 years ago, but
hey, I thought Julius had a good career here in Chicago.
He had a solid couple years.
I think he had a better career than what's his name? Who got rid of? Who's with the Chargers now?
Khalil Mack, really?
Khalil Mack.
I think he had a better.
The league leader in sacks right now, Joey.
Yeah, but if you think about look who he's surrounded by. Bosa, come on.
Right.
Yeah, but isn't Joey Bosa hurt right now?
No, he's out there earlier.
Is he?
I don't know about now.
He's just not making an impact like he was 3 years ago.
Yeah, because Khalil Mack's taking all the sacks away from him.
No, I think it was the right move. As much as I hated it at the time, it was the right move looking back to move on from a lot of these guys with the dead cap space. It allowed us to go out and get Montez Sweat in the 2023 season. Yeah. If you paid Roquan Smith what you're now paying two high-level linebackers, you probably don't have the money to go out and get a guy like Montez Sweat. You look at TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, they've both been highly efficient at the linebacker position, and their contracts collectively are still like $1 million less per year than what the Ravens are paying Roquan Smith. And have you heard a lot of Roquan Smith's name lately? Not really.
Just his comments.
You know, you look at all the moves that Poles has made here over the course of his tenure in Chicago, and with the exception of signing Velus Jones, I think he's done a pretty damn good job of
let's not forget Chase Claypool also.
Really filling the positional needs. Okay, Chase Claypool wasn't the right fit for this team. The guy's a
he ain't the right fit in Miami either because
I think Claypool he's his worst enemy. I mean, because at the end of the day, he does have that number one receiver potential. It's just he shoots himself in the foot. It's his own
potential
fault.
Gets people fired, man.
Yeah. I understand the Chase Claypool thing. Probably could have got a better receiver with that second round pick, but so 2 misses and a whole bunch of other hits. I mean, ultimately, I'm riding with Ryan Poles, and again, back to the if this team wins out.
One of the biggest things with Poles too. That's not the re-signing of Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet has been phenomenal this season.
That's huge. Cole Kmet
hasn't dropped the ball yet.
Cole Kmet is tight end number 5 in the league right now.
Yeah,
and I think that potential. He only has the potential to grow. I really like Cole Kmet. Listen to him. He's on weekly with Greg Braggs and the guys over at CHGO now. And I like listening to him from an analyst perspective, giving a fan or a player's perspective to the fans. But Cole Kmet, smart guy, high level IQ, and just really good football player. Like you said, excellent hands. He hasn't dropped a ball this season that's been thrown at him, which is absolutely crazy if you think about it at the point of the season we're in. But we're doing everything that we can to be successful in the right ways as far as locking down key positions. Tight end's a key position that you don't have to worry about. You know, you could have very easily, just like you did when you made the mistake years ago, and I'm still not over this, the Bears let Greg Olsen walk. Now you made the right move, and you've got a guy who's top-level talent, and you signed him. I like the extension of Cole Kmet a lot. He's efficient. He's a good, big-bodied target. His blocking's good. And, overall solid acquisition. Good job.
Tarbill, you and I have always talked about Kmet and being a guy that we liked. And last year he wasn't utilized as much as we were hoping. This year, I'm really glad with how they're using him. They're getting him to be Fields' safety valve, right?
Absolutely.
If you watch it, especially towards late parts of the game where Justin's looking for somebody just to get enough yards to get that first down, and Cole's there, right? And what I really like about Kmet is that the fact that when he catches the ball, he's not one of those guys who's just going to go down, right? He fights for every single yard that he gets, and that hypes the offense up. You know what I mean? And I'm real. That is one of the best moves that
hypes me up. That hypes me up as an analyst and a fan. Like, hey, Cole Kmet's going out here and grinding. I love it. All right, guys. We have talked a lot of defense on this show thus far. We talked a little bit of offense to start it out. Each and every week, for those of you that tune in regularly, we do our bare bones segment, which is our keys to victory, what we think the Chicago Bears need to do each and every Sunday to win, and we go through those specifics in depth. Although tonight is a night show and not a Sunday morning, we are not going to break tradition, so we'll be back with you guys in 30 seconds, and then we will go into our bare bones for this week against Cleveland.
Play to the whistle, man. Let's be great today. Let's be great. Win out 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
All right, guys, and we are back with you right here on Out of Hibernation on the Undefeated Sports Network. I'm Andrew Tarbill. To my left is Angelo Ace Camacho's picture because his internet connection is not great. Down below me, we got our guy Joey Law Lopez joining us for the first time in a while. Glad to have him back. As I said, guys, each and every week we go through our keys to a Bears victory. This is Bare Bones, and let's get right into it, guys. Number one, we touched on this earlier in the show. I want to get your guys' thoughts. I actually kind of already gave my opinion on this one. Justin Fields and his ability to use his legs. I think Justin Fields has to be in that 70 to 100 yards rushing for the Chicago Bears to be successful and win on Sunday. And I'm not saying that all has to come at once. It can be chunk plays, incremental, be smart about it, run, slide, get down, do what you have to do to protect yourself. But I think that's going to be a big part of the Chicago Bears game plan on Sunday. Do you guys agree, Joey?
Yes, I do, but I think a big part of it, we have to stay away from screens.
I could not agree with you more on that.
I think they're just that's their panic button. It's like right there. It's like instead of being a little small button, it's like a big circle. It's just one big hand.
You can't throw the ball laterally with a guy who's got elite level arm strength. Like Justin Fields, the two things he's known for is being extremely athletic and the ability to break free in open space and his ability to throw the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are his two knacks. And then, you saw it against the Vikings. You saw it against the Vikings. There were literally probably no exaggeration, at least 15 screenplays called that game.
Oh, without a doubt. It was terrible.
You finally see the last drive of the game. They put it on Justin's shoulders to get the ball downfield. And what happens? He snaps. He throws a 26-yard pass over the middle of the field to DJ Moore to set the team up for their game-winning drive. Now, obviously, they elected to burn the clock and go field goal there, which was the right move from a strategic coaching standpoint. But you would have liked to have seen Justin be able to finish the game on a high note with a tutty. I know I would have loved it for fantasy football purposes, but ultimately, I think Justin Fields has to be able to use his legs for this team to be successful this weekend. Ace, what's your thought?
All right, so I'm going to try my camera and see if this works because I love this segment. Okay, so the reason I put this down is because if you watch that game Sunday against the Lions, a lot of the early part of that game, the Bears would have been screwed if Justin didn't get out of the pocket and get the first down. I'm not saying like even the design runs, it's not necessarily that. I want Justin to do what he does best, and that's when the pressure is getting to him, he feels it, and then he goes. Don't second guess it. If you see the lane, take your lane and go. Because when he does that, he's so big and he's so fast. It's almost it's so awesome to watch because these guys chase him and they try to get him, and that also sparks his confidence. You and I have talked about this plenty on past shows. When he gets that big run, that 25-yard, 30-yard run, he gets up and then all of a sudden it's just like he gets his juices flowing and he gets up,
he does the finger guns, he's ready to go.
Yeah, the finger guns.
I agree with that, but I mean at the end, like if you notice they start off with that. I don't want them to, it's predictable. Don't start off with it. The last two games, that was the first play, was him running. Like, no, don't. Like, it's predictable. You got to keep guys on their toes.
But I think that he only ran that because he had to. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm not necessarily
I think that first play of the game last week was an RPO option, and there was defense coming through, so he had to run. Right. But I alluded to it earlier in the show. I don't think designed runs are not the answer for Justin Fields. I think the bootleg, the play action where
100%,
where he sees something's not here, 1, 2, 3, go through my progressions, nothing's there, everybody's covered.
I wish they would use
a lane, take
more.
Off. I agree.
You what?
I wish they would utilize that bootleg more because again, his legs are so dynamic that it's just an extra threat.
And the people that used to complain that he couldn't read a defense, that's quieted down quite a bit now. that was my number one argument last year. If you really truly think your quarterback can't read complex defensive coverage, cut the field in half, and that's effectively what you do when you run a bootleg, right?
Right.
Play action. So, everybody's to one side of the field. It's easier to read. Do things that are going to make your quarterback successful. I don't understand Justin Fields coming out under center and throwing a screen pass. That's not what he's good at. It makes zero sense whatsoever. We need more shotgun. We need more
The
boot.
Bears are good at the play action. I wish they would utilize that more. Because they're such a good running team that teams automatically expect them to run the ball. And when you do that, you're setting up. If you watch some of the better plays that Justin makes is when they run that play action, and then DJ Moore is able to get some space down the field, and he just darts it right in there. The dude's got an arm. You just have to give him that opportunity.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Moving on to topic number 2 of our bare bones segment here, fellas. The defense without Yannick Ngakoue. Now, this is an interesting one. Again, we touched in detail on Yannick earlier in the show. He was an impact player for this team. I'm not too worried about the team being without Ngakoue. I think it gives opportunity for Gervon Dexter Sr. He had a sack last week, so maybe he gets more opportunity up the middle. Jones as well up the middle. I think you've got options there that you can go to. Pickens is another guy that's going to be rotationally in there up front. I think that this defense will be able to manage without Ngakoue. You've got Rashid Green that you can plug in on the other side there at edge, and you've still got some other options. It'll give DeMarcus Walker a little bit more of time to be on the field, more opportunity. And I think he's hungry. He's a guy that came over here that, really before the Ngakoue signing was probably the starter on the other side of the edge. And he's been a rotational piece just with how the depth chart shook out. So I think that's a good opportunity.
And also let's not forget they're playing Joe Flacco, right? Like,
right.
The guy's 40 years old.
He's 38. I dropped it in the chat to you guys earlier this morning when we were talking all things serious football, and I said last week it came out in the pregame that one of the rookies, I don't remember who it was, one of the rookies on Cleveland told Flacco, "I used to play as you on Madden all the time when you were with the Ravens when I was a kid." And it's like that goes to show you, obviously the age gap. Joe Flacco's only 38. 38's not old, but that's old for a quarterback, right? So,
I mean,
38
is still pretty old.
He's a guy that's been in the league for 17 years now?
Yeah,
pretty close.
17, 18
I mean,
seasons.
he is a Super Bowl champion.
He's a Super Bowl champion. He played with the Ravens there, obviously won the Super Bowl.
Was he on the Jets for a little while?
He was on the Jets for a little while, which I really didn't understand why the Jets didn't re-sign him after last season with the uncertainty around Zach Wilson. Then they go out and make the deal with Rodgers. It makes a little bit more sense, but you probably really wish maybe you don't because you didn't go out and get him when Rodgers went down, but maybe you regret not at least exploring re-signing Joe Flacco if you're the Jets, although Zach Wilson looked decent last week, but that means he'll be shit for the next 4 weeks. So I'm not a Zach Wilson fan at all, guys. So, but ultimately, I think the defense will be fine without Yannick Ngakoue. I think they'll adjust. It'll give some other guys the opportunity to shine. What's your guys' thoughts?
Joey, go ahead.
I agree. I'm not panicking. I agree. He helped us out. He's a big performer for us. But again, we do have other playmakers that are stepping up to the defensive line. I mean,
right.
I'm more concerned with the interior linemen. But again, we're performing so well at a high speed. It's just phenomenal. My only thing is the only person I'm more worried about is Njoku, because other than that, Cleveland don't have anybody else. Ford still hurts, dealing with the ankle issue. So I mean, it's I'm not worried about it. That Bears defense, they're gonna be all right.
I mean, like I said, it's Joe Flacco. Like, if
Okay,
it's
but
not
Joe
like he's
Flacco came out and threw for
yeah, I get it.
347 yards last week, Ace. Like it's Joe Cool. Whether he's
Joe
38 or
Cool.
not, he came out and threw for 350 yards last week.
I mean, he already had 5 touchdowns under his belt already in 2 games.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I get it. But like you should still be able to generate pressure without Ngakwe.
And you should be able to stop Joe Cool because he's not a
Right.
running quarterback. So
Exactly. The only thing on Cleveland that scares me right now is the defense. That's it.
Yeah, but
And
at the same time, like I said, we got a double team. I mean, that's what's going to help us, having that fullback, having that tight end right there. I mean, you stop one guy, because even like you said earlier, Cleveland is they're a lot of their starters are out. They're not playing this week.
right.
So we got one guy to worry about, Miles. That's it. One guy. Double team, triple team if you have to.
And you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, you come out in jumbo package. You've got an extra offensive lineman, a tight end, your fullback. I mean, you've got Kari Blasingame on this team. If you elect to have a dedicated fullback on your team, you need to use them situationally in the right way. So, not a lot of teams. If you look at it, I think less than half of the teams in the league actually carry a dedicated fullback as of now.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I mean, it's one of those things. If you're going to do it, if you're going to fill the roster spot with a guy, you better put him out there and utilize him in the proper situations. So this
could be really a good game for Fields because Fields is a very first read type of quarterback, right? And you're going to have that pressure, so you have to get the ball out quickly. So this could be a solid game if they.
So the game plan should just be DJ, Cole. If neither of them are open, run.
I love it. That's what I would have put on the board in the locker room. That's it.
And that's why when I play Madden with the Bears, I manage to score more points than they do. I'm kidding.
Yeah, 100%.
Ultimately, I feel like Luke Getsy probably gets his playbook from Madden. Like all the screens, he's just clicking the suggested pass.
I call a better game plan than him.
He's probably got Madden up on his tablet.
Yeah, suggested play.
And run this. You see, in all seriousness, before we move on to topic 3, you see last week there was a comparison picture that comes out, and Luke Getsy's play card is this big, and it's a half sheet, barely covers up his face. And then you see the play call sheet of like Shanahan for the 49ers, and it's this giant brochure that has to be folded because there's so much on the card. And around the league there were a few different coaches, but even Matt Nagy's play calling card is bigger than Luke Getsy.
Let's pump the brakes on that. Clearly, Matt Nagy is the downfall of the Kansas City Chiefs, but that's for a completely different show.
That is for a completely different show, but ultimately, I think Luke Getsy, guys, he tries to be cute and outsmart himself is the problem. And then when that doesn't work, he's like, well, fuck it, I'll call a screen.
I will say I did like that DJ Moore run. That was a clever play.
Yes,
I didn't see it coming, and usually those plays with the Bears never work.
It worked to perfection. Like that.
What?
Well, Justin Fields is my fantasy quarterback. He gets 0 points for that. Of course I didn't like it.
Oh, yeah.
Like you run the end around. Can it at least be a forward pass so he gets the passing yards?
You know why you didn't make the playoffs, Tarbill? Because you stole my name at the beginning of the season, and that's why.
You stole my name. First of all, I had coined the name of that fantasy football team last season, and I did make the playoffs in my other league with my team of that same name. Thank you.
I changed my name, and now it's Fieldsing myself. Kind of like feeling myself, but for Justin Fields.
All right. Yeah. Let's move on after that. You're talking about feeling yourself, soft D earlier.
Fields.
Let's just
Fieldsing
let's just
myself.
move on to topic 3 here, Ace. Glad your camera worked for you to have that awkward moment. Awkward moment of the night presented to you.
I wasn't awkward. We're talking fantasy football names. That's part of it.
All right. Let's wrap up this bare bones here, guys. Number 3, we've already started to touch on it, so let's just wrap it up. Coaching on both sides of the ball. I'm not worried about the defense. I stated that. I'm always worried about Luke Getsy and what he's going to do, because if he comes out and calls another 30 screen passes, I will probably be going to my local Walmart to buy a new TV because I will throw something through it before the game's over. But in all seriousness, guys, Luke Getsy's got to call a smart game. He's got to utilize Justin's legs in the proper way. Really set the tone early and keep the momentum on offense. What we can't do is go down 14 to 17 points early and then be trying to crawl our way back all game long. The team needs to come out also firing on all cylinders, score on their first possession, which will probably be the very first possession of the game, because for whatever reason our coach loves electing to receive when
I think it's that momentum.
But you can't double dip. You don't get the opportunity to double dip there before halftime when you don't defer and elect to receive. I get it. I understand both sides, and I don't really want to debate that, but I think defensively, Eberflus needs to keep calling pressure. Luke Getsy has to have a good game play calling on the offensive side of the ball. And we'll be fine. We'll be fine, right, guys? It's just Joe Cool.
Well, you nailed it on the head. I mean, look what you said. Joe Flacco, he's old. He doesn't scramble. So what common sense is, you want to blitz every time. And who's the perfect person to do that? Obviously, it's Eddie Jackson. I mean, because him being out there is like a chicken without a head. The way he's just not it anymore. And I was a big fan of Eddie Jackson. I was happy when we got him, and he just disappointed me. Him, or Stubborn, whatever his name is. Right, those are the two perfect guys who yes,
the jackhammer,
they have bricks and brains. So you take advantage of that, blitz them every time. But that's the thing. Like I said, Joe Flacco can't run, so he's gonna dump the ball. There you go. That's easy picks left and right. You got to put the pressure on him. I mean, our defensive line, don't get me wrong, they've been doing a lot better with the pressure. But at the end of the day, like there's a lot of them are still rookies, and a lot of them are not fully getting the job done. It's we need the faster guys. We need the guys who, I'm sorry to say it, who are idiots, but they can hit. That's Eddie Jackson. That's Suburban or whatever his name is.
Just bury your shoulder and go in the hole. 100%. That's all we need you to do.
Old school hard hitting football. That's it. Shut up and show out. That's it. No talking like that. Me, I'm very old school. I don't like the whole show out. After every little tackle, even though we're down 40-some points, no, shut up and put your shoulders down and hit the guy. Let's play football.
Right.
Let's show them why we are the masters of the midway. Like, that's it.
I'm so glad that you said that, Joey, because in the Chiefs game, I'm having flashbacks here to the Chiefs game.
Oh.
We're down like 30 points already, and these guys are doing the discount double check when they're getting tackles for loss. It's like, okay,
who was it? Justin Houston?
Them.
A few years back when the Bears were getting a 50 burger put up on him against the Patriots, who sacked Tom Brady, jumped, and then tore his ACL.
See me if I was a coach, you're showing out like that, I'm gonna bench you. Like,
you're done, dude. Yeah.
Well, he benched himself with tearing his knee, but
true. But like I said, this game, Cleveland, they're not impressive. It's the defense, but like I said, it's one person. If Nick Chubb was still, God, he looks phenomenal. He's doing great. I hope he has a speedy recovery. But if Nick Chubb was a part of the picture right now, then I would be like, okay, we have something to worry about. But we don't. Like Ford, he's
Kareem
banged up. Hunt is banged up. Like, we're going up against Joe Flacco. Like,
right.
If the Bears make Joe Flacco look good, I'm firing Matt Eberflus at the end of the season.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Period.
I think if the Bears don't win 3 out of the next 4, Eberflus is gone.
Wow.
I think if they do win 3 out of the next 4, he's got another year. That's my.
I think if they don't win in Green Bay, I think he's fired. The McCaskies hold the Green Bay Bears rivalry so high that if he doesn't go into Green Bay and win, I think everybody's gone.
Yeah, because I mean, there's no way, I'll stand by it to the day, I die. There's no way Jordan Love is better than Justin Fields. Absolutely not.
There's not.
Like,
And
like,
what a
people-
better
people are
way
saying,
to
"Oh,
close the
no."
season out.
Like
There's no better
Jordan
way to
Love is
close the
just
season.
he's not better than Justin Fields. Put Justin Fields with the Packers. He phenomenal. It's unfortunately every quarterback we get, we ruin. We don't build up the right way. Why here? We'll go back to Aaron Rodgers. You know, I don't like Aaron Rodgers. You know, Brett Favre, one of my all time favorite quarterbacks. But even Aaron Rodgers said to the Jets, "Dude, re-sign Zach Wilson. Let him be behind me for another year or two, and it's going to be the Zach Wilson show." That's it. Was his exact word.
I think Zach Wilson's chalked, man. The Zach Wilson
there's not much
experience
faith
can
in
go
him.
in the garbage. That was a bogus
Zach
pick.
Wilson's-
You ruined your franchise.
Zach
with that
Wilson's out there banging moms and taking names,
Love it.
boys.
Love it.
Are you like trying to mock me? I kind of understand.
I'm awkward, right? But banging moms isn't.
It's like the dude from the Blackhawks.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that dude lost his job. So
Yeah.
You're
don't bang your
referring-
teammates'
You're
moms.
referring
That's the
to
moral of the
Corey.
story.
That was great.
Poor kid.
Oh, that story wasn't true, by the way, Joey, but
I don't know.
Packers suck.
or at least the Blackhawks PR department said it wasn't true.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we don't know behind closed
Only-
doors, but
only
Can we
Connor
get
Bedard and
it?
that guy's
Can we get the
penis
mom?
will really
Can we get the
ever
mom on the
know,
camera with us?
oh no
What?
moms on camera. No moms on camera.
No,
This is a mom-free zone. Sorry,
this is a mom-free
it's a
zone.
mom-free
for sure.
zone. No moms.
But back to like I said, Joe Flacco. He's not the old Joe Flacco. I mean, what do you expect? You put an old timer back with a new team. Of course
Right.
he's gonna light up. Now he should be exposed. No ifs and buts. Like I
Yeah,
said,
teams
he's
have
not
tape
mobile.
on him now, right?
Yes, this is his third game now. You know what to do. He can't mobile. The only person he's been going to repeatedly is Njoku. Take him out. In my opinion, Njoku, he's not it. He's. Ugh. I could take him out.
I like it. There's no doubt in my mind that you could. I fully believe
But it's just
you could take Joe
on,
Flacco
like-
out, Joey. But
Take him out to dinner, maybe.
yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
hope he
I'd
brings his
take Joe
mom.
Flacco out to dinner. Whatever.
please,
Talk some
his
football, who
Mom,
knows?
good God, Joe Flacco's mom's probably 75, dude.
It's all right. I like
Uh,
season on my food.
Old people need love too, man. Look
All
at
right.
Grandpa. He's old.
All
He's a
right,
man.
boys. With that being said, I think that's a good note for us to end. the
I
show
think we can wrap on banging moms. I'm good with that.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's only going to get better from here. But
shout out to all the moms
know.
out there.
shout out to each and every one of you that joined in to listen to us here tonight on the Undefeated Sports Network. We appreciate all of you. Please be sure to go like, subscribe, and follow the Undefeated Sports Network on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. We are on all major platforms. Go give our guy Ace a follow on TikTok for great shorts from the show. We're trying to get our Spotify up and going here, guys. We are
Yeah, it's only been-
expanding as we move forward. Be sure to look for us on that platform as well. Everybody have a good night and take care. We will see you right back here next Thursday on the Undefeated Sports Network. Have a good night, everybody.